Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Now, stand back for your own safety.
Steve, what's up?
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Steve. Where Paulie at?
Here we go.
I'm checking out. I will respond to you, but I'm done for the week. I'm done.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound.
Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot. I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac.
3, 2, 1, and
This is Orange Nation.
Well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us alongside Paulie Sibilia. I'm Stephen Fonte. It's a Wednesday edition of Orange Nation. We've got a couple of guests lined up for you in the second hour. John Schmelk, good friend of the program. Giants pregame and postgame host, also covers the Knicks. He'll be on with us at 1 o'clock. We'll talk NFL draft with the Giants. High grades for the New York Giants. And we'll certainly talk about this latest series with the Knicks. Plus, we'll have David Doc Sorbello here in studio with us. He's the historian for the West Genesee boys lacrosse program. Covers Syracuse University lacrosse. He recently wrote a screenplay called Orange Men. He's going to tell us all about it. It involves Roy Simmons Jr., Oren Lyons, Jim Brown. Fascinating screenplay, award-winning screenplay. He'll be on with us at 1:30 to talk all things SU lacrosse. Plus, we'll mix in your phone calls throughout at 315-437-7644. What's up, Paulie?
Not much, Steve. The show used to be award-winning.
Used to be.
I don't know what's happened. We've gone downhill.
When do we find out about this year?
September, I think.
Oh, we got a ways to go then.
Yeah, you got to wait. I was just looking up at our awards. It's 2020, 2021, 2022. We're in a drought.
We are. This is the
I got a good vibe this year, yeah.
So it's just been 2 years we didn't win, right? Because we find out about 2025 this year, or is
yes, that's correct.
So when we find out, it'll be for last year. Okay.
Did you you know what else would be fun? Or I was wondering, do you think it was because of the last speech I gave when we got the award was kind of snarky?
It could be that
they said, "Don't let this guy win."
The powers that be were like, "Yeah, we can't do that."
When I got up there and I said, "You guys should really do some show prep and work harder because we keep winning this award,"
and we have not won since.
Yes.
So you talking trash? has caused this.
I may have put some circle that in your head.
Yeah.
Billboard material.
I think that's quite possible. That's quite possible. All right, we find ourselves beginning with SU men's basketball once again.
Goodness gracious.
We have been getting, ever since this article came out yesterday, that Pete Corsini spoke with Donna Datota about the schedule. We got several comments on the show and after the show as well about the schedule and about the fact we had a caller call in yesterday and say these games, plural. He didn't like the fact that these games were being moved to other locations. And so that got us thinking here collectively between you and me and Tim. And if you look at recent years, for the most part, Syracuse has just had one power opponent, Power 5 we'll call it, with the Power 4 plus Big East. And I know over the course of the last 5 years, things have changed in terms of how you define that.
Yes,
what were we going to say?
It's not one of the better Power 5 teams that they've been playing.
Right. So it essentially has been Georgetown or whoever they play in the ACC whatever challenge. Most recently, ACC SEC challenge. It used to be ACC Big Ten challenge. So, yeah, go back to 2021. That year, they had 5 power non-conference games. They played one at home, Indiana, ACC Big Ten Challenge. They played Georgetown away. They played Arizona State and Auburn in the Bahamas. They played Villanova at a neutral site game in Madison Square Garden. 2022, they played 3 power opponents out of conference. One was at home against Georgetown. They played Illinois in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, and then they played St. John's at the Barclays Center. 2023, 5 power non-conference opponents. One at home, LSU, ACC, SEC Challenge. They played Tennessee and Gonzaga in Maui. They played at Georgetown. They played Oregon in that strange neutral site game in the middle of nowhere. 2024, they played 5 power non-conference games. One at home against Georgetown. They played Texas, Texas Tech, Maryland at neutral site. They played at Tennessee in the ACC SEC Challenge. And then last year, of course, they had 4 power opponents in the non-conference. One at home, that was Tennessee, ACC SEC Challenge. And then they had the 3 games out in Vegas. So you look at this year, and again, it's 5 power non-conference opponents. It's Indiana, neutral site, Providence, neutral site, St. John's, we assume, at the Garden, and then ACC SEC Challenge, which we assume will be on the road. And then there's one more that we don't know about. But again, according to that article yesterday, it sounds like that game will not be at home. So when people say these games are being moved, it's really one. And, you have been banging the drum about we don't need Georgetown anymore. So, theoretically, if that's the trade-off, if it's just Georgetown, you're not going to play Georgetown at home this year.
I'd like Villanova.
Well, but
Thank you.
Say you got to
Pete
play.
Carson need to get on that.
So say you play Villanova in Philadelphia, or you talked about going down to DC potentially. Is that the end of the world? Like, are people like should we collectively be upset about this, or should season ticket holders be upset about this?
Well, the people are now mad about exhibition games too,
and that's where I was going after this. Was that I just wanted to address this first.
Yeah, LA Orange says it's a bad look, makes us look like a poverty program in a buy game. No, it doesn't. It's being smart with your money now. I guarantee you more schools are doing things like this. It costs money to have home games. An exhibition game brings in like 5,000 people, and you have this cavernous dome with hundreds of ushers, and it's smart.
I don't know why people are upset about this. Are we going to miss, a game against Slippery Rock in the? I don't know. And you say it's a bad look, but the goal right now for everybody across the country is to be wise with your money, right? And this is a situation where, again, like it or not, the Dome, it's more expensive to put on an exhibition game in the Dome than I would say probably virtually anywhere else, given the whether there's 5 people there or 30,000 people there, it's a bigger venue. You've got the ushers, you've got concessions, you've got, all that goes into, putting on a game inside that building because it is massive. It's going to naturally, it's going to cost more than if you're playing an exhibition game at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
It's funny because I see fans talking out of both sides of their mouth. They accuse me of this a lot, so I'm going to accuse it back, Stephen. Because you got to build the brand. Why aren't we getting New York City businesses, Albany businesses, Buffalo businesses to spend money? Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're going to go play a game in Albany. They might play one in Buffalo. You got to do that. It makes sense. You got to build your brand. And if you move an exhibition game, who gives a damn?
Right. And for the folks who are saying this roster isn't good enough and they need more money, and so they're doing things to try and be smart with their money. They're scheduling non-conference opponents from 5 hours away so that they don't have to fly in the non-conference opponents. They're taking some of these exhibition games, moving them to neutral site. Again, that's talking out of both sides of your mouth. You can't be upset that the program isn't spending like everybody else is, and then also trying to save money at the same time. So, and I don't even look at it like they're crying poor. I think they're trying to be smart about things. And this is something that, again, an exhibition game against Pace, are you going to miss that? No. I don't think most fans are going to miss that. So
the other thing is fans have spent the past 3 years saying, I'm not going to games. I'm not buying tickets. And now you're mad that it's having a ramification? It's the old FAFO, Steve. If you don't go to the games, they got to find ways to make money elsewhere.
Right. Correct. So anyway, those are the 2 things that have come up the most over the course of the last 24 hours. The moving these marquee games away from the Dome during the regular season, which really, again, in theory, when you look at it, it's one. And we don't even know for sure that last game is going to be away from the Dome. It sounds like it's going to be. But it's essentially Georgetown. This year it would be Georgetown, right? Because it's the odd year for the ACC SEC Challenge. It's the road year. So in the past, over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, that's been replaced with Georgetown at home. So, you are, of all people, say no one's going to miss Georgetown.
No, but I've also been saying I would like to have one game at home on the schedule.
Right, but if it was Georgetown, you would just roll your eyes and you say, oh, who cares?
But it's at least a game that helps your net at home somewhat.
You hope.
Yeah.
You hope it helps your net.
No, but I would like a rotating home and home with
somebody.
A former Big East school.
And you may get that. You may get, it sounds like St. John's is going to be on the schedule. We don't know if that's a one-off. We don't know if it's going to be part of something larger. And then there's this fifth game that we have not heard about yet. But anyway, those are the two things. It's the non-conference opponents during the regular season schedule. It's the fact that, people all of a sudden seem to care about, whether or not Pace is going to come here for an exhibition game. I'm just throwing them out there as a general example. And I don't know. I feel like in some ways it's just fans are complaining for the sake of complaining. Like you
got to be angry about something.
I guess.
You have to be, Steve. If you're a Syracuse basketball fan, you have to be angry about something.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's written into the rules. Maybe it's an unwritten rule. You have to be mad.
The way I look at it is you got a new athletic director in here, and his specialty is raising money and NIL. Let the NIL guy do the NIL thing and raise the money. And, you got a new basketball coach in here. I think you got to let these guys work for a little bit before.
See what happens before you're mad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is a different approach, right? It's different, and people don't like change, but you also don't like the way that it's been going for the last however many years, 5, 6, 7 years. So change can be a good thing, right? Why would you keep doing the same thing you've been doing over and over again if it's leading to the same results? So I don't know. I think coming in, mixing it up, having a different approach, a different way of looking at it, a different way of doing things, trying to save money where you can, trying to apply it to things that really matter. I don't think that's a bad approach at all. If anything, I think it's a sound approach.
Yeah, it seems to make sense for where they're at right now. And then we've also heard a lot of people say that the season ticket prices have dropped. That isn't probably because, that there isn't a Power 5 conference game on the schedule. It's probably because they found out how much they could do till it hurt too much and cut the price, and hoping more people will buy season tickets to make up for the loss they're making in the price. But so, I don't even know that they've dropped prices. That's just what I'm hearing.
All right. So Tronic84 in our chat, and I'm not calling you out, Tronic, but it just happens that it's the most recent comment that I see.
Go ahead, comment.
It's not that fans will miss a game against Pace. It's that our program can no longer afford to play preseason games at home. And I truly don't believe that's the case. It's not the fact that they can't afford it. It's that they are making a decision to use that money elsewhere. Instead of paying to play against Pace in the Dome and take a loss because nobody comes, it's expensive to put on a game inside the Dome. They're doing what they think is smart. It makes smart business sense.
Instead of losing money, they want to make money.
They want to make money. So I don't look at this as they can no longer afford to play a preseason game in their own building. It's, why would we do this? It's, we're going to take a loss on this because nobody comes. So let's play Siena in Albany. Let's play Niagara in Buffalo. It also extends your fan base. We can, we're not going to lose money on this, and it serves the purpose of us getting ready to start the season. I think that's the way you look at it.
Yeah, and it's also being done in the non-conference schedule also. They've said we will no longer, it's not because they can't afford to fly Oakland in from Michigan or, schools like that. It just costs less to bring somebody within a 4-hour radius, and you save money on an airplane. Yeah. It's simple math, guys.
Yeah. It's a choice. I don't think it's out of necessity. Well, it is out of necessity in a way that everybody right now, every school is doing whatever it can to save money. I just saw Wichita State close down a couple of programs, not football or basketball. I forget which program it was. It was drawing a blank now. It was like cross country or something. Two of their main programs, men's and women's, they closed it down. Schools are trying to save money, and they're trying to give to the programs that matter. And And I think you're seeing that right now. Syracuse University is no different. They're trying to save money where they can, and this is one of the things that they're doing. And I do think it's a sound approach when you step back and take a look at it and take the emotion out of it.
LA Orange says we're running interference for the school's decision. No, we're not. It's just simple. It's just simple math now. You have to get money to pay players, right? You have to get that 22.5 mil, and it goes up every year. Yeah. You have to get that money somehow, and Syracuse is finding ways to do it.
I guess
and don't be mad
when I see a comment like that from LA Orange or from the others in our chat. Why are people angry about that? Like, I truly don't understand why you're angry that there's not going to be exhibition pace in the dome. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
like, I don't get it.
And unless you're a season ticket holder, what are you mad about the fact that there isn't a Power 4 school coming to the dome this year?
Right.
Because the exhibition games aren't part of the season ticket package.
Yeah.
That is one thing. I will say this for the average Joe. That is bad. The exhibition games were a chance for families to sit in seats that they can't afford during regular season and get up and close to the team. That is something that is being taken away from the average Joe. You can't go to an exhibition game and sit in the pull-out seats, instead of having to sit in the 300s to watch a game. That's the only thing I could see that is missing from the exhibition going elsewhere.
Yeah, and maybe my guess is it's probably a one-time thing. If there's no marquee non-conference opponent on the home schedule, my guess is that part is a one-time thing. I understand what you're saying about the exhibition games that families get to go, but the trade-off to that is now families in Buffalo and families in Albany will get to go.
Well,
and maybe
tickets are more expensive.
I get it, but they might feel a little bit more connected to the university and to the program and to the product, and they might decide to come here now for a game.
But you also can get the people that are CEOs in Buffalo to come sit courtside,
right? Yeah,
and check these games out. That's far more important than some
there's definitely
dopey
some
middle class family, Steve.
I mean, the early season games though against Cornell or
you can whoever, buy off of StubHub for cheap.
You can go to the games. Yes.
Another thing, Steve, before we take a break here on this whole exhibition game, nobody goes to those. I've been doing this 27 years. They used to go. They used to be like 15,000 people. It wasn't when they were losing either. It just slowly tapered off. Like, there were years. Like, how many people were at that Lemoyne game they lost? Probably 4,000 people. You just can't do it in the era of NIL. If NIL didn't exist, I guarantee you they wouldn't have made these changes.
Yeah. Right. And people get upset that, well, you're not changing with the times. You're slow to adjust. You got to make some, schools are going to have to make tough decisions across the board. I'm sure that they would love to, have the exhibition games. They're doing what they think is smart and make smart business sense.
I didn't think I'd have to apologize for this. I don't think middle-class families are dopey. It was just a joke. It was me being sarcastic.
Yes.
Grant from Ohio. I apologize. I don't think middle class families.
I just let those things slide because I'm so used to you just being you that I knew exactly what you were.
I literally had just gone on a rant about how it was going to be. It hurts the middle class families by those games moving, and then I jokingly say, we don't need dopey middle class families in Buffalo. Yeah. It was a joke.
I'm immune to it now because I've gotten to know you so well that I know that's just you being you. But yes, thank you for clarifying. That's our opening drive brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero and Burdick Toyota. We're going to take a time out here. Phone lines open if you want to check in. Back after this on ESPN Radio. That's true that some schools won't have to make these decisions, but Syracuse is definitely one of them that does. And that's just the reality right now.
Yeah, but they also don't play exhibitions in the dome. Like, Cameron Indoor is a freaking high school gym. You could run an exhibition game in there for nothing. I call them dopes. Gee, I'm barely middle class. You think I call me? I did not, but man, was margaritas packed. People were standing out in the rain last night. Did you guys know that? What got me thinking about this yesterday is like how crowded downtown was for Cinco de Mayo, and I'm like, I grew up like an hour, less than an hour from the border of Mexico. A lot of my friends from Mexico, and I don't remember ever celebrating Cinco de Mayo as a kid. And then I realized Corona made a way to sell beers called Drinko for Cinco in 1989, and it's just white Americans created it to be as big as it is. So we celebrate basically a moneymaker for Corona beer. Oh, Tronic. I mean, if AI broke it down, unless it's already happened, AI is not going to know. If the middle class boycotts Syracuse basketball because I called them dopes, then I am the most powerful man in America. I can never run for public office now, Steve. Someone will clip that. Paulie, the voice guy, will be like, Paulie Sibilia thinks the middle class is dopes. He once called the middle class dopes.
No, we're not square dancing. A party under the pavilion? Getting closer, but still missing the sparkle. Wait, I've got it.
He thinks you're a dope. Don't vote Paulie Sibilia.
Is back every single Thursday at Sharky's Event Center. Live music lights up the
If the staff gets feeling frisky like they did that one time when they made Paulie election commercials,
That was funny.
they could make that. Paulie Sibilia thinks the middle class are dopes. He's out for the rich, even though he's a broke-ass bitch.
New business marketing and Sun Cruiser Iced Tea. Mom's phones never stop. Where's my hoodie? What's for dinner? Can you Venmo me? She deserves a break. This Mother's Day, bring her car to Splash and enter our wash and win. One lucky mom will score a $500 spa day. Massages, facials, peace and quiet. Remember that? All you have to do is wash to enter. Bring her car, upgrade her day, possibly become the
I called Ryan Blackwell a dope.
Flash because mom deserves a better wash.
I like Ryan. He thumbs his nose at Middle America. Paulie Sibilia.
Live from the Harding Mazzotti studio. Hurt your body? Call Harding Mazzotti. 1-800-LAW-1010. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1, 1200 AM and 14.
I don't see who that hot girl is. I have this one, like, ginger that yells at me about the Padres all the time on, like, just screams into the mic. We are in the year 1980. 8-year-old Paulie Sibilia would have been probably introing this song in his bedroom. It's Billy Joel. You may be right.
You said we weren't going to like these songs. I like this one.
No, I didn't say you weren't going to like them. I said This is probably the worst top 7.
Isn't that the same thing?
No. You might like one or two. It's just I think this is the worst top 7.
Is this the best song we're going to hear today?
The number 1 song's close, but I think we're going to like the number 2 song the most, you and I.
Okay.
See if I know you. I think number 2 is the best song on this list.
All right, fair enough.
What do you want to talk about?
Are you done on SU basketball?
Yeah, and I'm done thumbing my nose at the middle class and the poor, Steve.
Because I feel like for that first segment, you actually cared. You told me all week you don't care about anything.
No, it was a good segment. And I also think it would be funny now if someone clipped me and made a commercial of me if I was running for office. Paulie Sibilia hates the middle class. We don't need those dopes going to our games. Vote his opponent in the midterms. And if I was in office, I'd get primaried right now, Steve, because I called the middle class dopes. Even though I'm barely middle class.
We know you didn't mean it like that. I sent you and Tim something before the show started. Bubba Cunningham, the North Carolina athletic director, who's on his way out. He recently did an interview.
Yeah, this kind of flies in the face, Steve, of people thinking that it's Syracuse doing things because they're poor. What he's about to say.
Yeah, so he was asked about the current state of affairs in athletics, and he talked about the revenue sports versus the non-revenue sports. And he said, is a starting wide receiver who costs $2.5 million more valuable to an athletics department than your men's or women's tennis teams? The uncomfortable answer is yes. And then he goes into talking about how he thinks, this is his opinion, he thinks we are headed for two different models, two different pay-for-play models. The revenue sports, basketball and football mainly, I think there's some schools that, maybe baseball becomes a big thing. Everybody's got maybe that third sport that might fall into that category. But for the most part, basketball and football across the country, he thinks will turn into a pay-for-play model like we're seeing right now, that the athletes get paid by the university, by, NIL, so on and so forth to play their sport. And he thinks we will come to a day where the non-revenue sports, those athletes will have to pay the school to play those sports. So two different pay-for-play models, meaning, kind of like a parent would pay to get a kid, on a travel team or AAU squad or whatever the case may be. The field hockey player that's playing in the Big Ten may not be funded by the school, may have to, foot the bill to some degree themselves. Again, one man's opinion. He's obviously been doing it a long time. He's on his way out, and maybe glad that he's getting out when he is. But what do you think of that when you hear that somebody who currently lives in that world and is experiencing the changing of this landscape thinks that we may get to a point where the non-revenue sports basically have to support themselves? I
don't think it can get to that point, Steve. I think there's got to be a way to get this back to amateur sports, whether it's a salary cap or something. It can't get to that. I was just thinking, remember when NIL, what NIL, when it first came out, it felt like to me it was you go to a school, no money offered, but it gave you the opportunity as a player to go out and get a deal with a local car dealership or a restaurant and make a few bucks. And now it's just, hey, we're going to get you $1 million to come here now without even knowing what you're going to do to earn it. And they just got to do something. The NCAA's got to grow a backbone. The schools have got to grow a backbone to just stop paying this much. It can't go up 60% every year. Well, you're going to have NBA payrolls pretty soon.
I don't know if it's for, you say they got to grow a backbone. I mean, the NCAA, they're afraid of lawsuits.
Well, they got to stop.
But again, just because you stand up to the way things are, you're probably a lot of these things you're probably going to lose in court, right? So I don't know if it's about growing a backbone or the school is saying, well, they just have to stop paying this. As long as there's someone out there who will, and I think you're seeing that this year in this off season for college basketball that,
But it's going to get to a point where they can't.
Sean Miller saying that there are 20 to 25 schools across the country right now that are paying in excess of $20 million for their rosters. If there are teams out there, schools out there that are willing to do that, it's not going to stop.
But it's going to get to a point where everybody's got to stop.
Well, we're not there yet.
Yeah, I know, but it's got to happen. It's going to happen.
And what's going to happen first, though? Are we going to get to a point where schools stop paying that? Or are we going to get to a point where schools, and Tim corrected me, it was Wichita State, it was men's and women's golf, and maybe just the tip of the iceberg. Are schools going to keep cutting, and trying to save money in other areas so that they can continue with this arms race in football and basketball until that day comes?
Yeah.
My guess is you're going to end up losing some programs and some services and so on and so forth along the way before we get to that day.
Yeah, Paul is anti-capitalism with these price fixing. No, I want it to be like pro sports. Even if it's a thing where, if it's like MLB, where if you go over a certain threshold in NIL, you have to pay all the other schools some money so they can keep up, even though the MLB doesn't do that, Or if it's you work something out where it's a ceiling or a floor or something in college sports. That's what's got to happen, just like they do in every professional sport.
If there's a salary cap, and you can decide, like, if there's an AJ DeBonsa and you're BYU and you want to spend 50% of your budget on AJ DeBonsa, like, go for it. You can do that. But I do wonder if you're going to get to a point where there is a cap on this in terms of, schools are dealing with salary caps, that your roster can be X amount of dollars and you can spend up to that. Now, it's tough because you've got these outside sources, giving money, and so that's what we keep hearing about above the cap. Like, the schools are capped currently, the players are not capped in terms of what they can make. So I don't know, again, that would be challenged in court if the NCAA tried to grow a backbone and do that.
If they're going to do it, the players are going to have to unionize. Going to have to come to an agreement with the schools. It's just how it works in pro sports too. It's got to happen.
But in pro sports, though, I think the difference is in pro sports, you're getting paid by the owner. Like, you sign a contract with a team, and the team can only pay you X amount of dollars, or the team has that budgeted. Now you have, the schools are the teams, and the AD and the chancellor, like, they're the owners of the teams. But now you have this outside source of the NIL money.
Well, so get that. You could do that on your own. That's what NIL was originally.
Correct.
It should be nothing can be promised to you from the school that isn't coming out of the money that's being.
But again, I don't know how you legislate that. I mean, you've got certain businesses that are tied to certain schools. And so I think it would be understood that, hey, if you come here, wink, wink, nod, nod, our last point guard, he had a deal with this company and made X amount of dollars. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you were to come here, theoretically, you could do the same thing. I don't know how you would legislate that. So
yeah, Ryan Mount says it was fine with the average Joe when the universities were explaining. No, these guys should get paid. It's just, they've got to figure out a way to make it that it's not out of control.
We keep talking too about, like, men's basketball, 20 to 25 programs across the country spending $20 million or more. That's basketball. That's not even football.
Yeah.
And you're seeing numbers thrown around. And again, I don't know how realistic they are, but some people who are in the business right now and know this stuff and follow this stuff say that football rosters are going to be approaching, like, the high-end teams are going to be approaching $50 million. Like, that is insanity. But I mean, I obviously know the schools are making a lot of money, but that is that's crazy to me that we've gone from one end of the spectrum, and I agree with you. I think the players should be getting something, but we have gone from one end of the spectrum to the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
But the weird thing with college basketball to me is, like, these guys, some of them, like, there's players that aren't that good getting a lot of money.
Yeah.
This isn't. It's not Shohei Ohtani. It's not, your supermax players. People are paying millions of dollars just to get somebody on their roster. It's bonkers. Yeah,
no, for sure. It is. And I don't know what the answer is, because I don't think it's just as simple as, well, put a salary cap on it, because there's that extra party, right? There's that third party, the NIL stuff coming from outside the organization that's going to be hard to legislate, and that's going to be hard to put rules on, and that's going to be hard to make it, lawsuit proof. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but just seeing these numbers go up and up and up. What I'm afraid what's going to happen. The reason I brought up the Bubba Cunningham thing is, I don't know if we'll get to a point where, a women's field hockey player is going to have to pay the school to play, or, a male golfer or whatever. But what I do think might happen is, and I don't think Title IX is going to get overturned either, but I think you're going to see men's and women's non-revenue sports lose opportunities at places while that school tries to save money. And I think that obviously that's unfortunate. They'll still keep the proportion that they need to keep Title IX in place. They'll still keep the male scholarships and the women's scholarships have that ratio that they need. But I think what's going to end up happening is, you're going to lose, some programs that you don't want to lose. Again, like a men's cross country or, that kind of thing, or women's field hockey or whatever the case may be. And it's that is unfortunate because that's not what college is all about.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it is now what it's all about.
Yeah. Let's hit a timeout. Phone line's open if you want to check in on this topic or something else. 315-437-7644. We'll take a break here. We'll get into today's business. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Oh, Grant, you're proving yourself to be knower. Just keep your yap shut. Executives and administrators can get fired. When these kids come here and get the money, they don't get fired. Like Donnie Freeman should have gotten fired.
I do wonder if you could build in incentives, make things incentive based. Well, businesses could do whatever they want. Like the schools couldn't, but the businesses could. Yeah, and like Sport Board, that's just it. Like, I don't think Title IX's going anywhere, nor should it. But I think that the one way that schools will work around complying with Title IX, but still trying to save money, is that they'll end up cutting both men's and women's programs and keeping the ratio that they need, and staying within the letter of the law. But women are going to lose opportunities, and men are going to lose I think that's one potential way I see this going, is that schools are going to be like, what, we just can't afford to fund men's and women's cross country. So sorry, but it's going to be a club sport now, and we just we can't fly to Stanford and go. We can't play women's volleyball in Stanford because it just costs too much money.
Hartford, Herkimer, Rome, Old Forge, and all the way to Syracuse, we're proud to serve the communities that have supported NYE for years. Our team is local, they live here, they work here, and they care about the same roads and neighborhoods you do. Need service for your vehicle? Visit your local NYE dealership and let our trusted service team get you back on the road. Shopping for a new vehicle? Shop today, because NYE will make your deal. You'll see a renewed commitment across our dealerships, a fresh start, and a promise to get back to what NYE has always been about. Taking care of our community.
He doesn't love handling rats. He is a rat. Rat boy. How'd you like to be on that ship? If they're doing this again, too, this is going to sound like a conspiracy theory, but if we're getting another goddamn epidemic on a goddamn, it all starts on cruise ships. They should ban cruise ships, damn it.
The area's largest food festival is back June 5th and 6th in and around Clinton Square. As always, admission is totally free. Chow down on $2 samples while you enjoy a full weekend's worth of live entertainment from local bands and national recording rock artist Fuel. Kick off your summer the right way at the Summit Federal Credit Union Taste of Syracuse, presented by Tops Friendly Markets June 5th and 6th in and around Clinton Square. For more information, check out tasteofsyracuse.com. It's an amazing day at Hyundai Cicero. Over 350 cars.
This is not the players' fault, obviously. I mean, I do think that a lot of this traces back to the NCAA refusing to evolve and forcing it to go to the courts, and then a court ruling goes against them, and they were not prepared for what came next. And they continue to lose lawsuits in the court system, and this is where we are now. We've gone from having way too many rules to now having 0 rules. And instead of compromising when this became a thing, and there was a call for players to get some money, this is where we are now, because the NCAA dug their feet in the sand and said we're not budging, we're not doing this. And
we're talking about the Hannah virus, Steve. You shut up.
Okay.
And cruise ships are petri dishes. And we don't know if there's some variant out there now. God damn it, I don't want to do that again. I don't feel comfortable hearing it, Grant. Rob, you have the hantavirus. I'd lock yourself up for a month.
Tim, you coming in for today's business?
6 weeks. What?
No, I think Tim's coming in for today's business.
Oh, okay. I don't like this song. Welcome back to Orange Nation. The number 6 song, 1980, Fire Lake by Bob Seger. I don't even remember this song, Steve.
I feel like I'm on a horse right now. Walking,
This isn't great. Sorry, Bob Seger fan.
Not his best? No, I agree with you.
I'm a Shame on the Moon guy. That's a good one. Old time rock and roll. Sundown Baby.
Against the Wind.
I don't hate Bob Seger. I just hate that song.
Yeah, not a fan of that song. I'm with you on that.
Tim, I hate Tim, but not his segment.
Jeez.
Not his segment. Today's
he still doesn't care about anything.
Yeah. I noticed that.
It's his attitude. He doesn't care about anything.
No, actually, he seemed a little upset at the fans in the first segment.
That's why I said the first 10 minminutes I felt like he cared, but now he's back to not caring.
Yeah. We have to talk the roster.
We're talking about exhibition games getting canceled. Shut the hell up. What makes me the maddest about the whole situation is I'm not going to another game ever. How dare you take marathon oil away from me?
Marathon oil. So random.
Yeah, I just don't get why the fan base is bothered by this one, honestly. Also, I think it's going to be pretty cool to play in Boston and play in the Garden again. Aren't there some fans that are thrilled because Syracuse is a national fan base that's going to get to play in games or in places that they can really pack the house?
Yeah, I don't totally get. And like I said, at the top of the show, we've been hearing. Yesterday, we got a call. I don't like that they are taking these games away from us. Games, plural. It really is when you stop to look at it, and I know you did, Tim. It's like one game, it's one game off the schedule. It's, Georgetown or an ACC, SEC.
Do you feel like you're on a horse still, Steve?
No, it was just the music. I felt like I was on a trail ride on a horse.
Right.
By the way, we did just get a call from a fan. He did not want to go on the air, but he wanted to pass along for everyone that's down on the roster that On3 right now and Rivals on their website, they rank all college basketball transfer portal classes. Syracuse is 14th in the country in transfer portal class right now. And he was like, for everyone that's down on the roster, they've got 6 players coming in. 5 of them are 4 stars or better, and On3 has it 14th in the country.
Okay.
So
good to know.
I do love that people call in during your segment, Tim, because it's less of you. Jim,
what's going on?
Hey, with all due respect, I wasn't trying to call in. Sorry, it was the timing and when I could get available to make the call.
It's all right.
Don't worry, Jim.
It's all right. Less Tim.
I didn't want to cut off Tim's important work there. But, no, I was calling in because what you're talking about in terms of the revenue versus non-revenue and Bubba Cunningham's, I do think, again, with all due respect, with Paulie's middle-class opinion, I do think that's probably for now where things are also going until they get this under control with the money, and maybe it's too late once they make the changes. But, Jay Billis has talked about this for years, and lacrosse might be the greatest example. While there's some ACC schools like Carolina, maybe Duke, that are giving away a serious number of scholarships, that's a classic case where he pointed out years ago there's kinds of two groups of people. One of them are the people, frankly, and I love Syracuse lacrosse. I follow it, and it's great. But the reality is it's still a sport that's mostly people from, academies and, people who want to brag that, Remington or Wellington or, Huntsman the Fourth is going to play at Princeton or at, Virginia or Duke or whatever. And Bill has pointed out those families, the universities know those kids don't even need scholarships. They're paying full boat so they can brag at the country club that Wellington is playing, lacrosse at this school. And so they're collecting that full, $80, $90, $100,000 tuition at those institutions, and the kid doesn't need the money, but they're happy to collect it as a revenue source. And then you have even the middle-class families who kids play lacrosse, and a kid who didn't make all league in their local, tri-county playing in high school went to some camp somewhere they had to pay to, go, and now all of a sudden they're kind of playing at William and Mary or American or UMass Lowell, so the parents again can brag about it at the local barbecue. But the parents are turning around saying to me, I'm paying more to send my kid on his scholarship to play lacrosse at Marquette than I'm paying for my kid to go to Penn State or Temple. So there are these sports that probably, now I don't know that that's true in sports like field hockey or cross country or some things, but there are certain sports where there's families, I think the universities recognize we can derive revenue here. Charging them to do this, they're going to be okay with it because they want the kid to play and brag about it, but it'll bring some revenue in and we don't have to pay it. So anyway, I just think that's kind of a unique area in its own that, this may be where it's heading.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the call, Jim, and obviously Tim's in here, and
he's right. But there are poor people that play lacrosse too.
Well, right. But what I was going to say was, even with Syracuse, like they're given a number, like they have an X number of scholarships, and they can do with that number what they choose. Right? They can cut the scholarships in half. They can, they can divvy up that money however they want. So if they have, I don't know. I don't know the number off the top of my head. If it's 25 scholarships, something like that, they don't have to necessarily give it to 25 players. They can divvy up the money, right?
Yeah. Gary has told me that lacrosse has 12.6 scholarships.
Is that all it is?
That's all it is. Okay. Now, they are trying to up their game there because they're trying to compete with the other ACC schools. And now, since the rules have changed when they implemented the roster cuts and stuff like that, now you can have unlimited scholarships in theory. It just comes down to the university's decision of how many scholarships do we want to give, how much do we care about lacrosse versus other sports. And we talked about this, I believe, Monday, but UNC has 28 scholarships. So that's kind of the competition that they're in recruiting right now, is scholarships play a big role. And that's last I heard from Gary Gate, 12.6 is what they're at right now.
Wow, that number surprises me.
I got a 0.6 of a scholarship. How do you divvy that?
Yeah. And then that also gets into, Steve, everyone has said, all right, they have the number one recruiting class in the country in 2022. Why has it dropped off since then? Well, they made the decision probably, I don't know the exact number, but let's say 6 of your scholarships are those kids. Yeah. Now you only have so many to give up in next year's class and so on and so forth.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So they might be due, once they lose these seniors, to have more scholarships to give up, and then therefore hopefully the recruiting classes in the next couple years will be strong.
Yeah, and
we'll see.
And there's a way they get to the 0.6 too. There's multiple kids on this team probably not even getting full scholarships. It's just partial scholarships. Yeah. It's crazy.
Right.
And one example I've heard from the coaches, that one of the guys that they did convince to come from a recruiting battle in the ACC, I think Joe Filardi was down to UNC and Syracuse. He came to Syracuse because he could play football at Syracuse too. So there's some instances where you find the right kid, and obviously Syracuse has a great history, and playing in the Dome is unlike any other atmosphere. So they certainly have some pros in the recruiting battle, but that's something that they're trying to up their game in for sure.
Interesting. So in a way, Bubba Cunningham's saying that we're heading toward this model of pay for play, like the non-revenue have to pay the school. In some ways, it's already kind of starting in that direction.
Yeah.
And if you get those scholarships taken away, like if they have 12.6, and then to save money, then it becomes 10.6 and 8. And we're already kind of heading in that direction. It sounds like.
Do you have another one?
Well, I want to say real quick, while we're talking lacrosse, I do just want to mention, and I'll talk about it more on my show, but they announced the 5 Tour-a-ton finalists yesterday, and Joey Spallina is a part of that group. Very interesting year for that. Same discussion we have with how it's wide open from a team perspective. It's probably going to come down to which of these 5 players goes deepest into the NCAA tournament, but you got Joey Spallina, Nate Kabiri at Princeton, Owen Duffy at UNC, Sean Light at Notre Dame, and Willem Firth from down the road at Cornell are the 5 finalists.
All things being equal, if you did not let's say people had to vote today and you couldn't take into account the tournament run or who wins the national title, all things being equal, is Joey Spallina the favorite on this list?
I think he is the favorite right now because he's the only senior, and they tend to like the career achievement award winner, I would say. The other 4 guys are juniors. Sean Light at Notre Dame is very interesting. You could make a strong case he's the best player in the country. They have never given the award to a defender, and he is one of just a couple of guys that's even been a finalist as a defender. So it will be a very interesting year. I think if Syracuse makes the Final Four, Joey likely will win the Tour-a-ton award.
Paulie, what do you got?
All right, while we're talking about Syracuse being cheap and canceling things, this is going for all businesses, including McDonald's, guys. They're getting rid of their fountains in the restaurants. You have to get your Coke from the servers now because people are taking too many free sodas, and it's costing them. So it's not just Syracuse. It's happening all over. Do you also notice that restaurants are now, they've taken those trays that have the sweet and low and the sugars off the tables too, and they you have to ask your server to offer. Yeah, because people are stealing too many of them.
So at McDonald's, is it? I don't eat there very often.
They just give you a cup.
But is it free refills or no?
It's not supposed to
It's not
be.
supposed to be. People are.
I thought it is.
No. It was kind of.
Well, I've been violating that.
Yeah,
Tim, you're part of the
I
problem.
don't go there
You're
much
not
now.
supposed to just like those people that fill it up halfway, drink half, and then fill it again. Yeah, you're not supposed to do
You're
that.
not supposed to do that. Okay, I didn't know if you could
Really?
like, give your cup to the server and then behind the counter they fill it up.
No, I think it was kind of done in order to like cut back on paying people, but I think it's gotten to the point where it's too expensive.
Huh. Okay. I thought it was free refills as well.
I did too. I'm now doubting Paulie a little bit, but I don't go into a McDonald's very often.
It's not why it's set up like that. You don't get free refills.
Well, they should make that clear.
Yeah, they should.
I think it is pretty clear.
I think a lot of people believe it's free refills.
I also, they give you that little itty bitty water cup.
Yeah.
And people will go over and fill it up with soda because they're.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the bigger issue.
I can see people doing that.
It's not. It's not. People,
Is the chat with me here? I feel that we need to do a poll. Did people think that it was free? I thought all fast food.
Is it free refills at 7-Eleven?
No, I guess, but I don't really go into a 7-Eleven very often. I don't go into these places often, but my understanding was if you get a Coke from McDonald's and you're eating there and you finish your Coke, you can get one to go.
If you're dining in.
Yeah. Right, at McDonald's.
I'm with Tim. That's
It's
what I
going
thought
away
as
because
well.
it's getting too expensive.
Well, we should come up with a list of major corporations that are making a lot of money that also have made decisions that are smart for business because that happens a lot.
It's you're stealing and you just don't think, well, it's McDonald's. It's not going to affect them, but it does affect a small business owner of McDonald's.
Right.
It's also you just want to make as much money as possible if you're in that role. So.
Okay, let's take a time out here. We'll check in on the market. Then we'll get to hour number 2. We've got John Schmelk joining us right at the top of the second hour.
Apparently, I'm glazing McDonald's right now.
Oh, Paulie.
Just go to break. We're already behind.
You know who I'm
ESPN
friends with?
Radio.
Ronald. Ronald and I talk all the time. Best friends.
He told you what to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know 2 clowns, Steve. You and Ronald.
Oh, man. What's the chat saying? Am I getting any support in there?
Hang on. Kill the mics for 1 second.
Very quick with
Yeah.
honestly, I might text you guys if he's already on.
Like McDonald's only charges $1 for a Coke, basically. Also, so it's not free refill.
Like if John's on at 12:58,
We should just roll in. Yeah, just let us know.
Steve knows Mother Day is Sunday. He's already bragged about having a reservation. Yeah, it says 61 after tax. It's outrageous. LA Orange. So if you bought a to-go, you bought a soda in the drive-thru, you could drink it in your car, walk in and refill it. No, you can't. Some restaurants do have free refills. Oh, it's inside dining only, the same exact cup, same exact thing? You know who had shockingly free refills? The ACC tournament had free refills on sodas if you bought the big freaking cup. You never ganked somebody? Steve ganks the joy out of my life every day. I did. I stole. I'm not saying I didn't take the free refills. I'm just saying I wasn't supposed to. I'm not better than you. Is it free to steal the condiments off the tables at restaurants also, guys? Is that free? Steve seems like a sweet and low stealer. Although he wouldn't eat sweet and low. That is stealing if you share your Netflix password with people not in your household. I do steal from hotels on occasion, not going to lie. I'll take some. You can't take the soap anymore because they have them on squirt bottles on the wall. I've been known to take a towel or two if it's soft and I like it. Wasabi Dude's daughter likes to drink creamers. That's a weird one. Yeah, there's no way Steve uses sweet. Steve has to go suck the sugar cane to get his sugar every day, just directly from the cane. Freshly picked. The number 5 song, Steve, 1980, Another Brick in the Wall from Pink Floyd.
All right, let's get our daily check on the market.
I prove this daily, Steve. We don't need no education.
It helps, though. Let's bring on Mike from Lee Baldwin and Company. Mike, what's going on?
Oh.
Got a good day in the market. All three major averages are up over 1%, led by the NASDAQ, up almost 1.4%. So nice day so far. Our diamond, there's plenty of them out there, but we're going to go with Disney. They reported earnings this morning. The stock's up $7 to about $107 a share. So a nice report, a nice follow through for Disney. And our dog, we're going to go with a couple of oil stocks. Oil's down about $7, which is helping propel the market on positive Iran talks. But we see stocks like Occidental and Devon trading down about 7% with the drop in oils. But overall, a really nice day, and hopefully the momentum can continue.
All right, Mike. As always, we appreciate the time, and we appreciate the good news. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, all the diamonds, none of the dogs. LeeBaldwin.com.
People are going wild after my take on the free refill. Someone asked me if I've ever gone in and eaten the free breakfast at a hotel that I wasn't staying at. No, I haven't. That is bonkers. But that's a great idea. What's stopping you from doing that?
I never thought about that. Just act like you belong.
Someone asked me if I take to-go boxes to the media spread. No, but I do know of someone who put shrimp in their pockets.
All right, let's hit a quick timeout. We'll stay on time for John Schmelk. He joins us next on ESPN Radio.
Yeah, with all the road travel I do, hell yeah. Why are cheaper hotels giving free breakfasts and the more expensive ones charging? Are you asking about the to-go box thing, though? I do know this for a fact. The team meals, they don't. Some of the hotels charge you as a separate meal if you have a to-go box. So the players aren't allowed to bring them up to their rooms. They have to bring the plate up. It's weird. It's weird how some things are charged. If I ever asked a student to swipe me into a dining hall, no. I have taken to-go like after a game, and I know I got to drive for the next freaking 8 hours after a game, I will grab a soda if it's canned soda, for a road soda. Paradise Found, get it right. We've discussed it. I have at points snuck my own candy into a movie theater when I was younger, yeah. How's YouTube doing today? Let's go over there for a little bit. Yeah, I brought that up. The people stealing the booze from the White House Correspondents' Dinner during the chaos is crazy. When Chris Gedney, rest his soul, when I was drinking back in the day, we were on the road and they didn't use all the booze in the VIP suite that they had there.
Yeah.
He goes, here, take this. And he gave me an unopened bottle of Kettle One. And I'm like, what? He goes, we paid for this, and I'm not just going to leave it in there for them to sell to the next people. I, as a kid, did pay. I remember the movie we did it to. We went and saw Howard the Duck, I think, and we snuck into Gremlins. Does that make sense? Or vice versa? Steve, you ever go through communion line twice, 3 times just to be closer to the Lord? Get extra holy. That's a funny one, Steve. You can laugh at that one. That was funny. You don't think that's funny? I feel extra naughty this week. I'm going to go get a second wafer. Do they still do the wine?
Yeah.
I always thought I would never do that. That's gross. And I made him put it in my hand, too, because I was... You know, I said this is not a great list of songs, the 7 most popular songs from May 6, 1980. This might be the slowest of the slow skates. Do you remember this song?
Who's this by?
Billy Preston and what's her name? Sarita.
No, I don't remember this song. It's a little before my time. 80, I was 4.
This is depressing. It's With You, I'm Born Again, Steve. I feel that way every day you show up to work. It just lights up my day.
Okay.
Billy Preston, 5th Beatle. 6th Beatle, one of them.
Let's drive into our second hour now. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero and Burdick Toyota, as we are joined right now, as promised, by John Schmelk, Giants pre- and post-game host, also covers the Knicks, and that's where we're going to start, John. We'll get into the Giants and their draft here in a moment, but this run, man, that the Knicks are... I saw this stat the other day, and I kind of did a double take. I was like, how is that possible? But the Knicks are the first team in NBA history to win 3 consecutive playoff games by 25 or more points. They've won these last 3 games by 119, a total point margin, which is the largest 3-game blowout in postseason history.
Where did you hear that stat, Steve?
We heard it
from me.
You brought it up early in the week, and I didn't believe you, but I double checked. I fact checked you, and you were right. What's going on with the Knicks? What has happened with this team over the course of the last week or so?
They found their groove, man, and they're playing their best basketball. To be totally honest with you, right now. We saw over the course of the season, the Knicks were very inconsistent, right? They had very high highs, very low lows, and I think whether it's just the players locking in, this is a veteran group. The regular season's a long season, and you can't necessarily bring your A game every time out as much as fans would like to see that. It's just not realistic with the way the NBA is structured. And it really seems like they have locked in to a way of playing that works. You got to give Mike Brown credit for giving them different ways to win, whether it's Brunson or Cat at kind of the head of the snake in terms of how you run the offense, and then you can do whatever is best for that particular matchup. And I think guys are, Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges are playing the best basketball we've seen all year. And I just think, generally speaking, all the work this team has put in over the years, over the course of the year, has really come together at the right time. And, we're not seeing those lows anymore. And consistently over the last 3 games, we've seen the highest of highs, most specifically on defense, where their defense has just been tremendous, but also on offense, where I really think they found a good rhythm and balance between their best players, where guys are fitting roles well. They're very acceptant of their roles. And I think that's why they've played their best ball so far this year.
Now, obviously, they're not all going to be as easy as Game 1, 137-98 over Philadelphia. And, the Sixers were coming off a very hard-fought series, that they got pushed. And, it was they expended a lot of energy. What do you expect from Game 2? Do you expect Game 2 to go right down to the wire? Or do you feel like the Knicks are, they're not 51 points better or whatever it was. Do you think the Knicks are significantly better than the Sixers in this series?
I do think they're the better team, and I think the matchup works well. I expect to see some adjustments from the Sixers. I think Nick Nurse will probably take Embiid off of Anunoby and off of Towns and try to hide him on Josh Hart and make Josh Hart beat him. But I don't know if that's going to work. They tried that 2 years ago, and Josh Hart shot the Knicks, into the next round, and he hit threes, and he'll have to do that again if that's how they decide to guard. The problem with Joel Embiid right now, because of all the injuries, he just can't move very well, guys. He's out
for the next game. John, we're jumping in here. We just got word that Joel Embiid ruled out for tonight's game due to ankle and hip injuries.
Wow. Okay.
ESPN reporting that as we speak.
Well, I guess not finding the matchup for him is not as big of a deal now, right? But look, that was basically the Knicks' defensive strategy or offensive strategy, right? They found Embiid and they attacked him no matter who he guarded. And it was a good strategy because Embiid can't move anymore. Now I assume you're going to have Andre Drummond as the starter. And this is one of the problems with the Sixers and one of the reasons I did not like Philadelphia in the series. I didn't think Embiid would be able to last the whole series. He just has so many injuries and issues. And now we're going to see Andre Drummond. I don't know how long he's going to be able to play and how effective he's going to be for those minutes. You can still target him. He's not exactly, Mr. Mobility on the perimeter either. And now I don't know how the Sixers, deal with Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. And I think they'll put a lot more on Paul George's plate. He played really well in game one. He just didn't take a lot of shots. I think Tyrese Maxey will be super aggressive. The Knicks defense on him was really good in game one, but I think he'll be better. But I really don't think the Sixers can beat the Knicks without Embiid playing really, really well. So with him not on the court, I just don't know if the Sixers have enough scoring punch unless they get a monster game out of VJ Edgecombe as their kind of number 3 scorer here. I don't like the matchup for the Sixers. I never did. And again, I think attrition with their age and injuries, I thought they would have trouble keeping everyone healthy the entire series. And wow, game 2, it surprised me it came already because it looked like Embiid, he wasn't limping a ton at the end of that game. So I'm surprised that he's not going to be able to play. Though given his history, I guess I shouldn't be.
You look at who's left in the East, and not that this is gonna be a cakewalk against Philly, but it does seem, as you said, they're the better team now. Embiid out, it seems like the Knicks are heavily favored now to move on. Should they move on and get to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pistons or Cavs? Do you look at the Knicks as the considerable favorites in the East right now, or are you worried about one of those two teams? I guess, namely the Pistons, since they jumped up 1-0 last night.
Yeah, I would not be that concerned with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think the Knicks would be able to beat them. I don't know if having their number is maybe a little too strong, but I do think the Knicks would beat the Cavs in a series. The Pistons are a different story. Now they're interesting, right? Because they defy a lot of the norms that you generally have from these playoff teams. Because generally, guys, in the playoffs, if you can't shoot the ball well, you're not going to go very far. The Pistons can't shoot worth anything. Like, Kate Cunningham's their best player. He's not even a great three-point shooter. He's a great two-point shooter and a great, great player. He's going to be all-NBA and very well deserving at that. But around him, they do not have good shooters. And generally speaking, if you can't shoot, it's hard to score enough points to win consistently in the playoffs, right? But the Pistons gave the Knicks more trouble than any other team this year. And the reason is simple, and it's the reason, frankly, the Sixers have not given the Knicks trouble, is that unlike Philadelphia, the Pistons are extremely big, long, and physical and athletic in the backcourt. They can throw a number of different defenders at Brunson. They can give him issues. They pressure the ball, and it gives the Knicks problems getting into their offense, and they have a good matchup for Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Duren. So for me, the Pistons were always the biggest challenge to the Knicks in this postseason. I have trouble saying the Knicks are the favorite, given the Pistons are the 1 seed, and they played so well against them in the regular season. But I think the Knicks are the more talented team, and if I'm sitting in the Knicks front office or in the Knicks ownership suite, at this point, I would definitely, maybe expect would be too strong of a word, but I would definitely feel pretty good and feel like my team has a darn good chance of getting to the NBA Finals, because I do think they're the most talented team left in the field.
John, how much of that has to do with coaching? And I guess, comparing Mike Brown to Tom Thibodeau, what are the similarities? What are the differences? How does this? Why does this team, I guess, look different this time of year with Mike Brown running the show opposed to Tibbs?
Look, I will give Mike Brown credit because I think during the regular season it would have been fair to be critical of him. I think he experimented too much. I think he was all over the place with his rotations. And I didn't think there was great buy-in from the players on the roster, to be totally honest with you. But that seems to have shifted. And you got to give Mike Brown credit for that. The word you hear around the team a lot is collaboration. He lets his assistant coaches do a lot of the work, coach up the players on offense and defense. And I think the players appreciate that. He probably takes input from the players as well. And they collaborate with the front office, right, from the top down. So, but I think X's and O's wise, what has me most impressed is, and this is a huge difference from Thibodeau, and this I think was always one of the more fair criticisms of Thibodeau. This team is playing offense in a different way. It's just not all Jalen Brunson all the time, where he's got the ball in his hands all the time, and he's doing a lot of ISO. And they've figured out other ways to play offense with off-ball movement, cutting screens off the ball. Karl Anthony Towns with the ball's hands at the top of the key. They have figured other ways to run the offense, and I think that has really made a big, big difference in terms of the ceiling of this team moving forward.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk some New York Giants football coming off the NFL draft. The Giants got rave reviews by many analysts coming off that draft. I guess let's start with their first pick. And you appeared on our NFL draft preview show that we did across the country. And you said with the top pick, with their number one pick, you said Arvell Reese is going to be hard to pass up if he falls to them at number 5. And he fell to them at number 5, and they grabbed him. I guess let's start there with what they're getting in Arvell Reese.
Look, they're going to use him as an off-ball linebacker. And I think I said it to you guys when we talked about him, that's how I would play him as well. I thought that was his best position in college, where he played his best ball at Ohio State as an off-ball stack linebacker. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use him as a blitzer on third downs. You can't use him as one of your pass rushers. Absolutely use those freakish physical abilities. Because, look, if you're looking for a comp for Reese in terms of size, strength, height, athleticism, they're all edge rushers, right? So I think he can develop into that player. But I think as an off-ball linebacker next to Tremaine Edmonds, they're going to cloud the middle of the field vision for quarterbacks with their length and their size and their coverage ability. But I think in the run game, which is even more important, the Giants have made some additions up front at defensive tackle here as well, with the reported signings of DJ Reader and then Shelby Harris, Lecky Foku, a couple others to replace Dexter Lawrence, that those big interior linebackers can take on offensive linemen, take on pullers, and be a little bit more firm in that box to slow down the opposing running game. So to me, that's where Reese's impact is going to be felt strongest off the bat, his ability to slow down the run, and then you see how you can develop him as a pass rusher moving forward.
And then in the weeks leading up to the draft, the Giants grabbed the number 10 overall pick in that trade for Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that move and what the Giants did really with that pick?
Yeah, look, when I was on with you guys, I was talking about Caleb Downs as a possibility at 5, right? So I know a lot of Giant fans wanted them to select him at 10. But I think we also, the conversation we had leading up to the draft is that do you want to go through picks 5 and 10 and not pick somebody that's going to help your quarterback? And I don't think that's something you wanted to do. The Giants did not have a walk-in incumbent starting right guard on their roster. It is never a bad thing to bolster the offensive line. They do not have, until the drafting is Francis Mauigoa, an interior offensive lineman under contract beyond this season. That's a problem. I always thought Mauigoa looked more like a guard than a tackle, just with his build and his strength. So I like plugging him in there at right guard to start. And then in a couple years, if Jermaine Illuminor decides to move on after this contract is up that he just signed this offseason, you can slide him out to right tackle, which I think Mauigoa can play. But I think your hope is that he's so dominant at guard in 3 years or 2 years, however long it is, that you say, well, we don't want to move him. And then he becomes, Zach Martin to the Cowboys or, a guy like that where he's so good at guard, it's not worth moving him out to tackle where maybe he's not as dominant as a player. And look, I think helping the offensive line and protecting your quarterback, especially when he's a second-year guy in a new system, is never the wrong decision.
John, as I mentioned, a lot of analysts loved what the Giants did in this draft from start to finish. What was your overall assessment? If you had to, give them a grade, I know that's tough, before we see any of these guys play. But if you had to give, Joe Shane and company a grade for the strategy and the execution, what would that be?
Yeah, I hate grades first and foremost. Like the week after the draft, it's the dumbest thing in the world because no one has any idea what these guys are going to be once they're on an NFL team in a new system with a new coaching staff in the National Football League. So that's number one. And we've seen the Giants, frankly, guys, over the last few years get really good grades on a lot of their drafts, and it hasn't turned into wins. So I think it's a matter of how these guys get used, but I do think they got good value for their picks. We talked about the first two. I think Colton Hood at the top of the second round, he's a guy that can work in eventually as your starting cornerback across from Paulson Adebo. He's a press corner. He's strong. He's good against the run, a John Harbaugh type of player. And then Malachi Fields, to me, is the wild card, right? And he has a lot of size. He's almost 220 pounds. He's 6'4". Can he be that big receiver that can make some contested catches down the field, but really work the middle of the field in third and short and third and medium to complement Malik Neighbors and, Darnell Mooney in the slot, Calvin Austin in the slot, Darius Slayton's deep speed, where he can be that big, long possession receiver. He's great as a blocker in the run game. That to me is going to be like, all right, is this draft class just really good, or is it a grand slam home run? How much can Malachi Fields help you as a receiver?
I know you chatted with Joe Shane on your podcast. What, if anything, did you take away from that conversation? What were some of the headlines?
I think how well he worked with Harbaugh and how the coaching staff was very clear with the scouts, the exact type of players that they needed and wanted at certain positions to create the type of John Harbaugh team that can win. The type of John Harbaugh team that won consistently in Baltimore. More physicality on the offensive line, big, long, strong people on defense, whether it's Reese at corner or Hood at cornerback. And even go back to free agency. Tremaine Edmonds, a supersized inside linebacker. I think the two are working really well together. And the scouts in front office have learned exactly what John Harbaugh and his coaches want. And they went out and went to go find their players. And, for a guy like Maui Noah, who played tackle in college, they're moving him to guard. A guy like Reese, who a lot of people thought was an edge rusher. Well, the Giants see him as an off-ball linebacker. And just making sure that the scouts and the coaches are on the same page in that regard, because the last thing you want to do is have the scouts see a player one way, draft him, and then the coaches don't want to use him that way. So I think the way they've worked together, this new coaching staff with the scouts, has been really effective. And I think Joe Shane did this with Brian Daboll too. He got Brian Daboll the players that Brian Daboll and his coaches wanted. And I think he did a really good job in this draft getting the type of players with the type of play style that John Harbaugh wanted to create a football team in his image.
All right. Lastly, John, what are expectations for John Harbaugh here in year one with the Giants, in your opinion?
I mean, John Harbaugh's expectations is to go win a Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's just the way he operates. That's what he's going to, tell his team, and that's how the team's going to approach it, which is the right way to do it. I think for Giant fans, if you want to think about this year, and I hope I haven't used this line with you before. I've said it so many times, but I'll say it again. When we're playing football on Thanksgiving, right? I don't know if the Giants are playing on Thanksgiving or not, but when we're sitting there on Thanksgiving, we're eating our turkey, we have our stuffing, and we have the football games on. And at halftime of the game or at the start of the game, they bring up the playoff graphic, right? And they have in one column the division winners, the second column you have the wild card teams, and then in the third column you have the in the hunt column, right? And there's usually about 3 or 4 logos in there where teams that are a game or two out of the wild card of the division that are still in the mix. The problem the Giants have had over the 10 years, guys, probably in all but 2 seasons on Thanksgiving, the Giants logo was not on that graphic in any of the 3 columns. They were so bad that they were just not even in playoff contention on Thanksgiving. I think your hope is around Thanksgiving, start of December, hopefully Christmas, you're in and around 500, you're in the mix for a wild card. Maybe if everything goes well, you're within shooting distance of the division in the NFC East. And you're talking about being a competitive playoff team. And once you get into the playoffs, who knows what's going to happen. But the Giants have not been competitive in that way enough over the last decade. So on Thanksgiving, when they put up the playoff graphic, be in that in the hunt or wild card column. And I think that is for a Giant fan, a good realistic goal. Be in and around 500 for most of the year. Be worried about the playoffs in December, and then let the chips fall where they may. And by the way, the most important thing, hold Jackson Dart is much better in year 2. Keep taking steps, right? Yeah. Long term, that's even more important than the record. seeing Dart get better in year 2 on their new offensive system. Sorry for interrupting you. I apologize.
No. I was going to say it's a great way to look at it, and you had not used that example before, but I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're in the mix at that stage, that's definitely a step forward, and that's where you want to be. John, as always, we appreciate the insight. We appreciate the time. Thank you as always, and be well, and we'll talk again soon, I'm sure.
Always a pleasure, guys. Enjoy your spring and summer.
All right, you as well. John Schmelk, Giants pre- and post-game host, also covers the Knicks. We'll hit a timeout here, quick segment next, and then we'll bring on our final guest of the show from there to talk some SU lacrosse. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Oh my gosh, it's not just Syracuse. Noah Fleischman. NC State reported a sellout crowd of 19,000.
Hey, what's going on?
For the opening of the Will Wade era.
Love it. I love it.
But only 11,000 tickets were scanned.
This is Paulie. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The dome. That's correct. I had to remind Tim that I'm a camera on.
Yeah.
You guys see me in the different here. You feel like you need a little.
I've never held a lacrosse stick.
That is an Alf Jock original.
How about that?
He gave that to me for my birthday.
That's a collector's item right there.
I had never even seen
not
lacrosse.
A wall hanger.
I've never even seen the lacrosse.
Real quick, before a few other things to get out of the way.
I've never seen lacrosse till I moved here.
You guys are talking about.
He's a loyal listener.
Right here. The whole chicken parm thing threw me off, Paulie. And this is for your 100-year-old grandmother.
What do you got?
I'm a garlic farmer.
Is that right?
This is twice roasted garlic powder and salt
You're the
that I
man.
make.
Thank you.
It's probably going to stink up the whole studio. That's why it's in 5 different bags, boys.
Steve stinks up the studio.
Came with gifts. I love it.
I got to bring the gifts. I mean, a little goes a long way, boys.
Now, how do you want me to refer to you on the radio? Do you want me to say David or do you want me to say Doc? Okay.
From,
All right.
3-time graduate, whatever.
Okay.
You don't have to put my whole name out.
Did you hear this, Tim? NC State reported it's not just a Syracuse issue. NC State people are mad. They reported a sellout for the first game, and after releasing the scanned tickets, it was 11,000, not 19,000.
And then we'll just go
because they're doing tickets sold. So every university does it.
It is crazy. It's crazy the way things are going.
Where's that camera right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube and Twitch. Yep.
Well, they probably did. They just didn't go to the game. It's like
you put his mic up, so there you go. So we won't be able to hear you. Yeah.
All my fish friends. Did Paulie? Did he tell you about the whole 1980 Grateful Dead?
No, we haven't.
Grateful Dead comes out with their album in 1980.
What one?
Go to Heaven. So I thought that would give you plenty of fodder for humanity's humor. Excuse me, for humor with the whole 90% of the band now dead and gone to heaven. You know, you got Alabama Getaway. Don't Ease Me In would be my walkout song right now.
I was not a big Deadhead.
Oh, I even wore the hat too.
Do you want to do Yankees update here? Take a break, bring them on, or
just bring them on, and then we'll do it.
Then we'll do the Yankees update. Okay.
That works right there as a little prop.
Yeah, that's good. The volume good? The volume's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I get tone all day, every day in my headset with directors.
That's right.
Steve likes his deafening tones.
Just don't forget I'm a camera guy, remember? So I get that all the time, remember? And these headsets are just like the handheld headsets. They're not long enough. You put a handheld.
I know, yeah.
You put a handheld camera on the ground. The headset doesn't fit.
Yeah.
You got to bend down. Have you guys been to the Sphere yet?
No.
Oh.
I drove by it.
No.
I haven't been in it.
You got to go.
I thought about buying tickets. My buddy and I when we were there, it was the Eagles, and we're like, we could go see the Eagles or go to San Diego and watch a Padres game. And we went to San Diego and watched a Padres.
That's your preference.
Yeah.
But you made a bad decision. It's one of the most incredible.
Is that right?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Is this the last one?
Yeah. Steve, put that on your bucket list.
Okay.
You should.
The Sphere.
So It's amazing.
Because you can actually do that. Your bucket list is actually a Bills player's bucket list.
Not even the visual. Thank you. Test 2.
Another slow skate, Steve. Told you this wasn't the greatest year for music. Number 3, 1980. On this date, Lost in Love, Air Supply.
The next one is the one you said I was going to like the most.
Yes.
I'm not looking, so I'm going to be surprised next segment.
Yeah, very yacht rocky 80.
Yeah, it is. All right, our next guest was ready to go, so we're bringing him on a segment early. We'll get into our Yankees update and whatnot here in about 15 minutes. But if you happen to be watching us on QSportsTalk.com, you see our next guest live and in person here in the studio, Doc Sorbello joining us. We know him from seeing him around the Dome as a camera operator on a lot of lacrosse games. You're the historian for West Genesee lacrosse. You've written several screenplays, including one called Orange Men, which we're gonna start there, Doc. But before we get into the screenplay, how are things? How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you coming into the studio. I told him, Paulie, I said he could do it on Zoom, but he said he wanted to come in. He brought props.
I brought props.
I got to hold the lacrosse stick. I don't think I've ever really done that.
That's not just any lacrosse stick. Tell us about the lacrosse stick.
So that camera there?
Yes.
So this is a left-handed stick.
I'm left-handed.
There you go. Right-handed goes the other way. This is made by Alf Jock, right down the passed away, of course, but right down the street on Onondaga Nation. Longtime friend of mine gave it to me for my birthday. It's a magical moment, and it's a real unique piece, and I love sharing it with people when I get a chance. It's a great icebreaker, especially with lacrosse.
So you love history, you love lacrosse, you kind of combine those passions with this screenplay called Orange Men.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Tell us the premise behind it and why you wanted to sink your teeth into this.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. It's a privilege being here. Long-time listener, first-time interviewee.
I'm sorry, you're a listener.
Long-time listener. The chicken parm, we'll get back to that later. I have the luxury of knowing people like Oren Lyons, Roy Simmons Jr., Alf Jock, and they put me on this path, all three of them. This is a wonderful story that takes place in the 1950s about art, athletics, and dealing with the times. You have a white man, a black man, and a red man, and how they all deal with it. The black man happens to be Jim Brown. And quite truthfully, in a nutshell, if I was giving you the elevator pitch at the Dome, this is really the story about how Jim Brown comes to Syracuse University and the complexities behind some of the other issues of the times. The real hero of the story is really Senior. If it wasn't for Roy Simmons Sr., I don't think Jim Brown would be here. And I don't think the legacy of Jim Brown would carry on like it did. I mean, look at what Groden just said the other day.
Yeah.
Could you imagine seeing Jim Brown with this type of stick, Paulie, a Woody? You know, when they say throwing lumber, this is what they mean, you know? He broke many of them, by the way, in a game.
I bet he did.
And Roy Jr. used to string all of his sticks. Excuse me.
So who did you talk to, I guess, for this, to put this together? Who are some of the people that you interviewed to make this happen?
Thank you. Being up at the university, first I had access to the Bird Library and to Manley Fieldhouse historical elements. But then I got to spend gracious amount of time with both Roy Simmons Jr. and Oren Lyons. And to hear the stories directly from them and what it was like. I mean, Oren Lyons tells me a story that in 55, he tears his tendons in his legs playing Cornell up at Archibald Field on a muddy game. They cast his leg all the way up. Back then, wasn't like today. He's playing 3 days later at Army with a full leg cast and sweatpants. I mean, and he has that at 90, he's now 95, 96 years old.
Yeah.
And to have that clarity of 1955, like that was incredible. It was to be in their presence and to enjoy their experiences at the time that they did what they did. Amazing.
What'd you learn from putting this thing together?
Kids, don't be a screenplay writer.
Why is that?
I mean, listen, I'm an indie writer in Syracuse.
Yeah.
All your fans out there, hopefully internationally, nationally, hear this. And let me ask you a question. What's your favorite movie, Paulie? What's your favorite movie?
Mine is The Temple of Doom.
Who wrote it?
I don't know.
See my point?
Spielberg, maybe?
See my point? You don't know who writes, just like you guys didn't. You don't know who your camera operator is behind the camera while you're at the Ivy League tournament on the couch drinking your beer.
Yeah.
Faceless, nameless. But that's why I'm here.
But you've won several awards with this, though. So people are starting to know your name now, right?
I have. I won 2. Thank you for noticing. I won 2 international awards, at film festival awards. One was from the Houston International, and the other was the 5 Continents. So basically, it's a circuit. You put your screenplay just like you would put a finished movie in at Tribeca or some of those other festivals.
So where does this project stand right now?
It's in the written form. You guys are welcome to read it when you go for your next bathroom break or anything like that.
Well, you sent it to me. You need longer than that to get through it. I mean, so like, what's the take us through the process now of where it goes from here.
Listen, you guys were talking about NIL money in the last segments or two. Syracuse University wants to get serious about making money. They make a movie about the history and how unique this university is in leading the way in things like human interest stories like this. That's how you're going to attract more kids. It's not going to be by giving them, money on the front end and hoping that they pay out at the back end. That's not, when we went to school, they gave them an education.
Yeah. Yeah, and that does seem like that's secondary now, right?
What education? They can go in the portal and they can be jumping around. I'd hate to see some of these kids' transcripts, Paulie.
So you and I were talking a little bit prior to you coming on, and we were discussing some of the talking points. And one of the things that you gave me was you wanted me to ask you about Jim Brown's last day as a college athlete, May 18th, 1957. I'm sure that our listeners will appreciate this. So tell us about Jim Brown's final day as a collegiate athlete.
First of all, people have to put into context. Roy, Orrin, and Jim played multiple sports.
Correct, right.
Orrin and Roy played lacrosse and boxed. If you've ever met Orrin Lyons, it's really humorous to think that he was a boxer.
Right.
Roy Sr. tried to get Jim to box. Could you imagine Jim boxing?
No, that would have been unfair.
I would not have been.
He already played basketball. He played lacrosse. He played football, and he played track at Syracuse University. He was a 4-sport athlete. Those things don't. We talk about some of the kids on Notre Dame, for example, that play football and lacrosse, and the kid here at Syracuse as well. I mean, those are rare, but the 4 sports. So here's Jim on the 18th. He had a track meet, and I have a great picture. I thought I sent that to you, maybe not. It's Jim's wearing white. It's a black and white photo. Jim's wearing white. The rest of the team's wearing blue shorts. Jim didn't have enough time, basically, to change out of his track shorts for the lacrosse game that was being played. And they're playing Army, who's 9-0. They're 9-0 at the time. Never beat Army. Winner takes all kind of thing. He had just won 4 out of 5 events in track. Oh, no big deal, Jim Brown,
It's probably a surprise he didn't win one of them.
Yeah.
Didn't go 5 for 5.
I'm sure some historians out there telling Paulie exactly what events they are at the moment. But, they're losing at halftime. And long story short, they win. They beat Army. They go undefeated in 57, 10-0. But back then it was by committee. And if I can back up a moment, fall of 56, Jim's overlooked for the Heisman Trophy. Spring of 57, he's overlooked for the national championship with Orrin Lyons. 10-0, they give it to Johns Hopkins, who goes 9-0-1. This is why I don't like Johns Hopkins. or Georgetown in basketball.
It's not the only reason though.
No, there are many.
Yeah, many.
And got to give it up a little love for John Zalberti, by the way.
Yeah, that is an old school jersey that you got on. A couple other interesting nuggets while we've got you here. Roy Simmons Jr. We know his nickname is Slugger. Would you care to fill us in on how he got said nickname?
Roy, I love you, man. And I had a lot of fun. I mean, Roy is really, if you guys have never had Roy on the show, I mean, he's just one of those incredible individuals. But
he's one of those people, and I have interviewed him before, and I think the last time I talked to him, we talked for over a half hour, and I'm not exaggerating. I think I asked him 3 questions. He talks, and you hang on his every word. What were you going to say,
Remember
Paul?
we had we asked the question to our listeners of who in Syracuse history you would have lunch with, and it was Roy Simmons from Jim Boeheim.
Yeah, and he said that any other answer is wrong. I remember he said that. He's like, any other answer is wrong.
Well, on a side note then, during the COVID thing, and hopefully we don't have another one that you were talking about. Alf Jock and I were in his shop, and he was kind of cooped up, and we started having FaceTime interviews with people, and we would bring certain people into the shop, keeping distance. And one was Orrin first, and then one was Roy next. Orrin was there for 4 hours. Roy was there for 5. Orrin, Alfie turns to me and goes, he beat Orrin. But none of it was really about lacrosse. It was life.
Yeah, right.
And that's the best part. I mean, Slugger, to get to your answer, I mean, he spent a lot of time in the gym. His dad was the boxing coach. He was the head boxing coach. He was the head lacrosse coach. And then he was the assistant coach to Ben Schwartzwalder. So he spent a lot of time in the gym. And you can see that for both of these guys, it really paid off. They're tough dudes. I mean, Orrin Lyons was a paratrooper in the Korean War. But then they're all artists, which is the whole unique part about these guys. They all have their own fluidity and artist element to it as well.
Yeah. You talk about Orrin Lyons. He had a role in changing SU's mascot, right? The Saltine Warrior. He had a hand in changing that, correct?
I mean, we're alum.
Yeah.
We know what that looks like. You look at that image, and then you go down and look at our friends on the Haudenosaunee.
Right.
They don't look anything alike. And Orrin said that right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You know, this is almost a slap in the face to the indigenous people. And quite truthfully, this is where Alfie comes into the whole picture of the screenplay. He's 5 years old. Roy Simmons Sr. used to bring the lacrosse team down and play box against the Iroquois national team at the time. Now we call them the Haudenosaunee Nationals. And there was a wonderful union between the native folks bringing this game to the, I heard your caller talking about.
Yeah, right.
The white collar.
Sure.
Elite.
Mm-hmm.
Some might even say the West Jenny kids.
Yeah. You've been around this game a very long time, and you've been in the Dome for many a thrilling lacrosse game. We saw one just last year, right? The Syracuse Harvard game to open the NCAA tournament. When you look back on all your time inside the Dome and all the games you've watched, is there one that comes to mind for you? Do you have a favorite memory when it comes to Syracuse lacrosse?
I was there when John Zalberti gave Gary Gate the pass.
Oh, yeah.
There is nothing better. You heard Anish talking about him yesterday.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's a pleasure to work with Anish and Quint and Kark. You know, I was just down at the Ivy Leagues. To have that front row seat behind a camera lens is very unique.
Sure.
To be able to see the sport from that angle is really unique. But that one moment for lacrosse, at least, that one stands out.
That's awesome.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Because John was a big brother to me.
That's awesome. We are running a little bit short on time here, but I got to ask you about this year's team, and they're getting set to to open up their NCAA tournament run on Sunday inside the Dome against Yale. Cornell is opening up with Hopkins this weekend
Saturday?
As well. So I will not be. You're going to be at the Cornell game.
I'll be at the Cornell
you'll
game.
be at the Cornell game.
It's just the way that goes with the scheduling and who crews you and whatever.
Take us through this. This bracket in your mind. What kind of chances do you think Syracuse has to go on a run here?
I mean, do you want the Orangeman in me coming out, or do you want the realist?
I want the honest realist.
I mean, the realist. I mean, listen, I just saw the Ivy League tournament.
Yeah.
Syracuse has got their hands full playing Yale.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Okay. And the rest of the field has their hands full with Matt Madelon and Princeton. I don't know what people are thinking, but the Ivy League is one of those leagues, along with the ACC, that people need to start paying a lot more attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Cornell obviously just won the national title. Looks like Princeton is the favorite this year, the number one team in the country right now. And, you're right about that. They play a great brand of lacrosse. Even in the Ivy League. Do you want to pick a champion if I put you on the spot today?
Oh, man. So I'll do what I do with my daughter for the hoops stuff.
Yeah.
I make two brackets.
Okay. One that you think and then one that you follow your heart?
One that you start with Syracuse in the middle and you work your way back.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, listen, let's talk about that for a minute. Joey Spallina has an opportunity to seal his legacy like Anish was saying the other day. Let's be real. He has an opportunity to do something world class, or like Anish said, or end up just like another 22.
Right.
And like Quint asked me, who gets to wear number 22 next year, Steve?
It's a great question.
Thanks, Quint.
Yeah, it's a great question.
I said retire it personally.
Yeah,
because at this point, Joey did a lot.
He did.
He masked. I mean, John Zilberti's now at the bottom of that list.
Yeah.
So, let's be realistic. I think, honestly, to work backwards, if Syracuse isn't there, I think it's a Cornell, Princeton, Ivy League repeat for a championship. But anything can happen, and that's why we play the game, and that's why I get paid to sit behind a camera and enjoy bringing it to all your fans. And hopefully I do a good enough job, and they're not screaming at the
Cornell's been flying under the radar all year.
I mean, listen. First of all, you have to stop at this stage of the game and stop looking at the talent that's on the field and start looking at the talent that's on the sidelines, meaning the coaches.
Yeah, sure.
And if you can out-coach the other coach, tyranny's not there this year.
Yeah.
The iPad thing is gone.
Yeah.
So now it's all who's got the better coaches, who can make an adjustment. As we saw at the ACC, Gary didn't adjust very well at the end of that second half.
Yeah.
Can you make adjustments? It's the coaching. It's all of that's going to come down to preparation, too. It's going to be short turnarounds.
Yeah. Then Syracuse got a local guy coming back to the Dome who's hungry to win a game here in Andy Shea. We're actually hoping to talk to him today.
Let me throw one more at you. We're going to have 3 West Tennessee Wildcats, and you're going to have John Galloway. You're going to have Dan Shamani and
Tambroni.
Jeff Tambroni. So 3 Wildcats.
Yeah, 3 Wildcats and 6 from Central New York. And all out of 18. I mean, that's 1/3 of the tournament is local guys. We really enjoyed this talk. Thanks for coming in. Well
Thank
done.
you.
All right. We're going to take a time out here. We're back after this on ESPN Radio. Yeah, right.
Like I said, you guys don't know who you're.
Yeah.
And honestly, who wants to spend money on a? Listen, a little bit of that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Don't throw it into like some steak and be like, oh my god.
Are you? If people listening to our show wanted to help the cause, how would they go about doing that? Send you an email. Can I give your email address to them? Are you good with that?
Send you an email and then you'll forward it to me. How's that? Because that way you can
Yeah.
filter out what happens.
Okay,
out.
that's fair.
I mean,
Okay.
it's an awkward thing. Like I said during the interview.
Yeah.
You'd love to see this movie come to fruition because yes, you want to see what happened.
Okay.
But at the same token, people don't want to pay.
Yeah.
To make a movie, it's expensive to make a movie.
Yeah.
We got the people here, but like I said, if you stop and take the out of the box look at it, Right. You're going to attract the kid that wants to be attracted to the cause.
Right.
And Jim and Orrin and Roy all made something unique.
Yeah.
A wonderful environment. Roy, Jim should have won the
Yeah. For sure.
Heisman, and he should have won the national championship.
For sure.
Yeah. But, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming in.
Enjoy that.
Good seeing
I
you.
hope you give that to your grandmother too.
I will.
I want to hear about
I will.
it. You know.
I will. My dad's actually going to see her this weekend, so we'll make it happen.
And chicken parm, just a little bit. Thanks. Shoot me an email. Appreciate
All right.
your time.
All right.
Hope
Be
it
well.
goes
All right. Thank
Go
you.
Orange. I'll see you. You're not going to be down there?
I won't be down there. No, it's a tough weekend, family weekend. So we got a lot going on. Yeah. Graduation. There's a lot going on. So no, she did last year, but there's some work commitments that Kim has because of the graduation. So yeah, I appreciate it. All right, you as well.
By the way, I don't know if Tim, you can hear me. Our website's up and running again. We finally figured out all the problems that we had with it.
What was wrong with it?
There was some, I don't know how to describe it. DNS. There was a DNS server issue that I have no freaking idea about.
Yeah, guys, his name is David Sorbello. His nickname is Doc.
No, Dom, it wasn't a bill issue. It was actually my fault because I couldn't figure out what the hell they were talking about for 3 months. And then I finally got the engineers involved.
Yeah, Jen. David Sorbello is his name. He goes by Doc.
I also think it smells garlic right now. He gave us garlic dust. Did you hear me? The website's working? Yeah, at the end. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Did you hear me?
Sorry, we went long. It was good stuff.
You want me to send you that for?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, we'll do the 2 interviews.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a screenplay called My Life is Stephen Fonte.
You got it?
Like, being John Malkovich. I'm going to create Being Stephen Fonte. Well, Steve.
Yeah, I do.
Do you like this song? I can guarantee you like this song. Ride like the wind, baby. Let him cook. It's a banger.
I like this one.
This is the first one I've called a banger. I wish I could ride like the wind, Steve. Do you feel like you're on a horse right now, too?
No, I feel like I'm in the car going 70 miles an hour on the highway.
This isn't a record for you 2 songs where you felt like you were riding a horse?
No, just one.
All right.
Just one.
Did you watch the Kentucky Derby, Steve?
I did not.
No,
I normally do, and I didn't this year.
It was a good one.
Trying to think of where the heck was I? Oh, it was the Syracuse Press Club. I was going to say I was watching on my phone. It was Syracuse Press Club Awards, and they started right at the award ceremony. Started right at 7, which is right around when. So we, I had it on my phone. I watched it, but kind of like very, very casually.
Did I tell you we went to that restaurant? I think I did. We went to that restaurant in Louisville and they had all the jockeys like outfits hanging up. And I'm a little person. I could not get my leg in one of those.
Yeah. I was today years old, or I guess 2 days ago years old, when I found out that the jockeys do all the races. Did you guys know that? Like, you know, they have 5 or 6. I don't know why. I just assumed they were tied to one horse.
They all lived in one city.
They were interviewing one of them, and they were like, well, you were on the winning horse earlier today. And I was like, really? Like, they just...
So you never went to the track when you were a kid?
I guess I've been to Saratoga and like seen it, but
they're all the same jockeys. So like we used to go to Vernon Downs when I was a kid. Like, you know, we would go like once a year or whatever. They'd have fireworks, and
I didn't go when I was like a kid. So
it was like every race, it was all the same, all the same jockeys, and you know, a lot of them were like owned by the same people, and the horses
makes sense.
What do you think the average weight of a jockey is in the Kentucky Derby?
You just looked it up?
Yeah.
98 pounds?
Higher, a little bit. It's higher than...
Okay, I was going to say 110.
112 to 118.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Steeplechase jockeys can put on a little more meat. I don't even know what that means. 145 pounds.
Huh. Okay.
But flat racing, you're at 112 to 118.
Yeah.
That's
and the lighter you are, the more of an advantage you theoretically get.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
You want to know what the average height is?
It's got to be like 4'11" or something, right? 5 foot.
Yeah, I would say
I would be Shaq if in the jockey.
You found a sport for you.
I could post those guys up. 4'10" to 5'6". I'm at the outer cusp. I'm 5'6".
Yeah, you're too tall. It's a job you can't do because you're too tall. How many jobs are out there, Paulie, that you're too tall?
Most jockeys are roughly 5'2".
All right. There you go. Tim, we've got to get to our Yankees update.
Yeah, brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus. It is Wildcat Wednesday. You should check them out tonight. Yanks have won 15 of 17. They just keep winning. And Jacob deGrom, tough pitching matchup last night. Their number 3 prospect, Rodriguez, pitched well. deGrom gave up a homer to Jazz Chisholm in the 6th inning. He bat flipped the crap out of it. Go-ahead homer. They came from behind, won the game. They're 25-11 right now, best record in the American League. They will play tonight. You got Nate Eovaldi on the mound for the Rangers, going against Will Warren for the Yanks. Garrett Cole was on the mound. He's been on the mound a couple times now for rehab starts. Made the rounds last night that he intentionally hit a batter. And I think he's in Double-A right now, and people were making jokes about that. But you consider the Yankees' rotation is pitching this well, like Will Warren, 2.39 ERA. They've gotten great starts up and down the rotation, and they still don't have Rodon or Garrett Cole, and they've won 15 of 17.
Yeah.
A couple things from the chat before we wrap up. Paulie's too girthy to be a jockey.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I've ever been too tall and girthy to be anything. Secondly, Steve, have you ever ridden a horse?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
We grew up with. My sister still owns horses. We've had horses my whole life.
That is next level.
So yes, I've ridden a horse many times.
I was bucked off a horse.
I thought you knew this.
Yeah, I did. I just blanked. I was bucked off a horse as a kid into a cactus, and I do not like that at all anymore. I'm not a fan.
I've never ridden a horse, never shot a gun. I'd be a terrible cowboy.
Oh, you haven't lived till you've ridden a horse.
Steve,
I agree.
Steve
I need to check that box.
Matt from Auburn says Steve also buries horses, which is
yes, our game, our car ride game. Yes.
That's
finally
right.
The number 1 song of 1980 on May 6th. "Call Me" by Blondie. It wasn't a great list, right? That might have been.
It was not a great list.
That might have been my worst. And I love Blondie. I'm just not a fan.
They were building up though toward
1992 is tomorrow, and then 96 on Friday.
I think we're gonna like both 92 and 96. That's my guess.
I think we need a few days off here soon.
I wouldn't mind that.
I think I need a vacation. It's probably not going to be till June, mid-June.
We get through.
I do need a vacation.
I think we all do, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I do. I'm going to say the week of my birthday.
I was going to say maybe we get past Memorial Day weekend at the very least, get through the lacrosse season, and then things will slow down here.
Steve, ever ride a pig? It's a good question.
Ride a pig? No, I've never ridden a pig. No.
Neither have I.
No.
Has anyone?
I don't know. That's a good question. Ridden a zebra? No, I have not ridden a zebra. I have been on a donkey that was painted like a zebra in Tijuana, though.
I participated in a donkey basketball game once as a
That sounds
as
like
a charity.
PETA hated that.
It was.
Was it difficult?
It was very difficult.
I did I was out in Utica once and did the wheelchair charity basketball game.
That's very difficult.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
My arms were wrecked for a week.
Yeah.
I know we're supposed to end the show, but I feel like we need to hear more about the donkey basketball game at some point. Sounds interesting.
It was difficult.
I think they've been banned, right? Haven't they?
Probably. This was a really long time ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Probably.
I was just one last horse story. Josh from K-Rock has a great story that his grandma used to take them when they were kids to horse diving. Like they would bring a horse up on this huge platform and it would jump off into a tiny little pool.
Really?
Yeah. Another thing that's probably been banned.
Yeah, I think that's frowned upon now. Tim, what do you got coming up tonight?
I'm going to dive into, there's an interesting article on Basket Under Review, a lot of data on the international scene and what are the takeaways as college basketball is kind of having an international revolution right now. Will Wade has talked about his entire roster is going to be international players, basically.
If Will Wade's doing it, it's got to be great.
Well, I'll have some takeaways because it was kind of interesting. The article was theorizing basically some good news for one of the international players that Syracuse has and some bad news for another player. So I'll get into that more. And then, probably just going to talk a little bit more about the roster construction for the basketball team and what to make of it.
Kevin from Liverpool says, can't wait to miss that.
Kev's always in our chat. He'll be there.
That was
pretty funny though.
All right, we got to run. For Tim, for Paulie, I'm Steve. Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody. We'll talk to you again at noon tomorrow.